Investigators fire that they're on the right track.
Drew Planton finished his lunch and he went to the dessert table and he got a small bowl of banana pudding. He came back to the table and he sat there for a long time trying to figure out how to eat that banana pudding without using a utensil. He could not. So he picked up his fork, he took 2 small bites, and then he put that fork under the table and he tried to clean it.
We'll just see about that. When Planton leaves, police confiscate the fork and send it to the crime lab. Will the proof be on the pudding fork?
Well, the lab agent with the State Bureau of Investigation let me know that he had matched 6 out of the 13 markers to the DNA obtained from the Stephanie Bennett crime scene.
It's a partial match, but investigators will need to match 13 out of 13 markers to get a conviction.
So we spoke with the personnel at his workplace, and we were all in agreement that he used some things at his workplace that he would naturally discard, that he did not have an expectation of privacy, and one of those was latex gloves.
Drew always wore a certain pair of gloves whenever he had to test a certain product that we tested. They were out of date and so out of style, and they were just Drew's gloves.
On October 17th, Joanne assigns Planton a task that will require him to use his gloves. For the first time in months, Drew doesn't suspect a thing.
After Drew put the gloves back in the cabinet, the gloves sat in there for the rest of the day. That evening, the SBI came back and retrieved the gloves.
The gloves are sent to the crime lab for DNA testing.
The next few days was nerve-wracking. If the DNA did not match in this case, I would have been blown away.
2 days later, Copeland gets the call, and 3 simple words make everything worthwhile. It's a match.
There are few moments in a homicide detective's career that they will ever get a chance to have the feeling that I felt that day.
On October 19th, 2005, 3.5 years after Stephanie Bennett is found dead in her Raleigh apartment, Drew Planton is arrested for her murder.
I never, ever would, in my wildest dreams, would have thought that Drew was a brutal murderer.
I would describe Raleigh as a growing city with a small town southern feel. Most of the murders we have are domestics, or they are murders where people know each other. And to have a stranger murder was very unusual.
The suburban nightmare might feel like it's over, but it's a nightmare from which Stephanie Bennett's family will never be free.
When he was arrested, it brought back, not that the pain ever went away, but it really made it even worse at that moment. So it was hard, and you could finally put a picture with the person that did that to her, and that was a hard picture to face.
One of the concerns that we had the whole time was that it would happen again to another young lady. And we did everything we could to try to stop that. And I was very proud and happy at the time that they made that arrest.
But the case is far from being closed.
He was catatonic. He never spoke. He would not respond. And no time after he was arrested did he speak or have any involvement with anybody.
Forensic psychologist Dr. Michael Teague knows a suicide risk when he sees one.
He was sort of sitting in the interview room, just sort of slumped over, not interested in answering the questions, not trying to make excuses.
Planton is put on 24-hour suicide watch. Meanwhile, a small arsenal is found in Planton's apartment.
We found a large amount of knives, a large amount of weapons, large amount of pistols. I was very surprised.
And one final piece of physical evidence linking Planton to Stephanie's murder.
There was 3 laundry baskets sitting in the living room, and one of those laundry baskets was missing from Stephanie Bennett's apartment.
Stephanie Bennett, it seems, might not have been Planton's only target.
We located a lot of information on numerous women that Drew Planton had either had contact with or observed or watched in the past. We had to go back and contact every single one of those people to make sure they were still living.
And just when Copeland thinks things can't possibly get any worse,
we discovered some mail that had the name Rebecca Hoosman on it. She had an old address located in Michigan, where Drew Planton had resided at one time. We contacted the police department in Michigan and actually discovered from investigators there that she had been the victim of an unsolved murder.
Rebecca Hoosman was shot in the face outside her Lansing home in 1999. And a bullet casing recovered at the scene matches a gun found in Drew Planton's apartment. Drew Planton has killed before.
I think in the Rebecca case, I think it was an aborted act in that he meant to kidnap her and rape and otherwise molest her, but she didn't cooperate, so he aborted the assault, shot and killed her, and make sure she couldn't identify him.
Raleigh PD finally has Drew Planton right where they want him, locked up where he'll never harm another living soul. But the once shy and awkward recluse has one last trick up his sleeve. He somehow talks his way out of suicide watch and hangs himself with a bedsheet in his central prison cell.
I was very mad when Planton committed suicide. He controlled my daughter's life, and he controlled his own destiny. And there were questions that I wanted answers to, never got them.
There are a lot of potential victims out there that maybe we know anything about. And we were hoping that the one person that could give us a definitive answer to all of that was Drew Planton. And now we know he'll never be able to.